Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to tell you one of the most fascinating and mysterious stories in history. The mystery of the Titanic. You've probably heard about the Titanic before. Maybe you've seen the famous movie or read about it in books. But I promise you, after listening to this, you will feel like you're hearing this story for the first time. I'm going to tell you everything in great detail, and some things might even surprise you. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of the Titanic. By the end of this story, you will not only learn about the Titanic, but also improve your English skills. The Titanic was not just a ship. It was a dream, a symbol of luxury, success, and human achievement. Let's go back to the early 1900s, when ships were the main way to travel across oceans. At that time, two shipping companies, White Star Line and Cunard Line, were competing to build the best and most luxurious ships in the world. Cunard Line had two fast and famous ships, Lusitania and Mauretania. These ships were fast, but White Star Line wanted to do something different. They didn't just want speed. They wanted luxury, comfort, and size. White Star Line decided to build three ships that would be the largest and most luxurious in the world: Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. Out of these, Titanic became the most famous. But not for the reasons the company hoped. The Titanic was built in Belfast, Northern Ireland, by a shipbuilding company called Harland and Wolff Construction. Started in March 1909 and took almost 3 years to complete. Thousands of workers worked day and night to build this giant ship. It was 882 feet, 269 meters, long and 175 feet, 53 meters, tall. Imagine this. The Titanic was almost the size of 3 football fields placed end to end. Now, let's talk about why the Titanic was called unsinkable. The ship had 16 watertight compartments, and the engineers believed that even if 4 of these compartments filled with water, the ship would still float. This technology was so advanced at the time that people thought it was impossible for the Titanic to sink. The vice president of White Star Line, a man named Philip Franklin, was so confident that he set in front of the public. It became the ship that could never sink. The wood paneling on the walls was carved by hand and polished to shine. The stained glass windows sparkled in the sunlight. There were 2 grand staircases, and one of them, the first-class grand staircase, became iconic. It was decorated with iron railings, gold details, and a beautiful glass dome above it. This staircase connected several decks and was where wealthy passengers would gather to show off their expensive clothes and jewelry. The Titanic had more than just beautiful rooms. It had facilities that were rare for ships at that time: a heated swimming pool, a Turkish bath where passengers could relax, an electric bath, which was considered a modern luxury, a gymnasium with exercise machines, a squash court for sports lovers, a library where passengers could read books, and 2 barber shops for grooming and haircuts. There were also restaurants, cafes, and smoking rooms where passengers could socialize. One of the restaurants, called the a la carte restaurant, was so fancy that you had to pay extra to eat there. The first-class cabins were decorated with silk curtains, elegant furniture, and the finest bedding. Even the second-class cabins were better than the first-class cabins on many other ships. The third-class cabins, though simple, were still more comfortable than those on most ships of that time. The Titanic cost $7.5 million to build in 1912, which is about $200 million today. Tickets were also very expensive. A first-class ticket cost $4,350 back then, like paying 10万 today. Second-class tickets were $60, about $1,500 today. Third-class tickets were $15 to $40, around 10yen to 10yen today. The Titanic was a luxury ship, and only rich people could afford first-class tickets. When the Titanic was finally completed, people all over the world were excited. It was the biggest ship ever built. Famous actors, businessmen, and wealthy families booked their tickets months in advance. Everyone wanted to be part of the Titanic's maiden voyage, its first journey from Southampton, England, to New York City, USA. The Titanic set sail on April 10, 1912. Crowds of people gathered at the port in Southampton to see the ship off. Families waved goodbye to their loved ones, and photographers clicked pictures of the grand ship as it slowly left the dock. On board were 2,224 passengers and crew members. Some of the wealthiest people in the world were there, including John Jacob Astor, one of the richest men in the world, Molly Brown, a famous socialite, Isidore Straus, the co-owner of Macy's department store, and his wife, Ida Straus. There were also immigrants traveling in third class, hoping to start a new life in America. For them, the Titanic represented hope and opportunity. The Titanic's journey started smoothly. The ship was cruising at a speed of 21.5 knots. Everything seemed perfect. Passengers enjoyed the luxurious facilities, relaxed in their cabins, and dined in the elegant restaurants. The weather was calm, and the sea looked peaceful. But just 2 days into the voyage, the Titanic received its first ice warning. It was a message from another ship warning about icebergs in the North Atlantic. At that time, icebergs were common in the area, especially in April, but nobody worried too much. After all, the Titanic was unsinkable, right? The Titanic's journey continued, and by April 14, 1912, it had been sailing for 4 days. Everything seemed perfect. Passengers were enjoying their luxurious surroundings. The sea was calm, and the weather was clear. But no one knew that this peaceful day would turn into a disaster that the world would never forget. Throughout April 14th, the Titanic received 7 iceberg warnings from other ships in the area. These messages were sent through Morse code. Some of the messages never reached the captain, Edward John Smith, because they were not marked as urgent. Some were sent to the Marconi wireless operators, who were busy sending messages for passengers and didn't give the warnings much attention. Even the warnings that did reach the captain were not taken seriously. Captain Smith believed the Titanic was safe. The ship was advertised as unsinkable, and many people trusted this claim. Even though the warnings suggested danger ahead, The captain did not slow down the ship. The Titanic continued at its maximum speed. The night of April 14th was unusually dark. The moon was not visible, and the stars provided little light. This made it difficult to see anything in the distance. The sea was also unusually calm, which might sound like a good thing, but it wasn't. Normally, waves would crash against icebergs, making them easier to spot. But that night, the water was so smooth that the icebergs were almost invisible. On the ship's deck, two lookout men, Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee, were stationed in the crow's nest. Their job was to watch for any dangers ahead, especially icebergs. They didn't have binoculars because the officer who had them left the ship before the journey and forgot to hand them over. This made their job even harder. At 7:10 p.m., everything changed. Frederick Fleet saw something dark and massive directly in front of the ship. He immediately rang the warning bell 3 times and shouted, "Iceberg right ahead!" The officers on the bridge reacted quickly. They ordered the ship to turn left and reverse the engines, but it was too late. Just 20 seconds later, at 7:10 p.m., the Titanic crashed into the iceberg. The collision caused pieces of ice to fall onto the deck, but the real damage was happening below the waterline. The iceberg scraped along the side and opened 6 narrow holes. Water began pouring in at an alarming rate. When the collision happened, most passengers didn't realize anything was wrong. Some felt a slight jolt, while others heard a grinding noise. In the first-class dining room, a few people even joked about it. In the engine room, the crew knew the situation was serious. By midnight, water had flooded the first 5 compartments. The ship's design could handle 4, but not 5. Captain Smith realized the Titanic was in serious trouble. The ship, once called unsinkable, was now sinking. At midnight, Captain Smith gave orders to start lowering the lifeboats, send distress signals, and avoid panic. The Titanic had only 20 lifeboats, enough for about 10 eBay t-shirt people. More than 1,000 people would have no chance. The wireless operators started sending distress signals. One was picked up by the RMS Carpathia about 58 miles away. The Carpathia immediately changed course, but it would take 4 hours to reach. As the crew lowered the lifeboats, confusion spread. Many lifeboats left half empty because passengers didn't believe the ship was really sinking. By 1:30 a.m., the bow was fully underwater. The ship began to tilt, and panic spread. The water was freezing cold enough to cause hypothermia within minutes. At around 2:15 a.m., the Titanic reached its breaking point. The bow was underwater, pulling the ship down. The stern lifted high into the air. The stress was too much, and the ship broke into 2 pieces. The bow plunged to the ocean floor first, followed by the stern. The Titanic sank completely at 2:20 a.m. Only 705 people survived, most of them in lifeboats. At 2 a.m., the RMS Carpathia arrived and rescued the survivors from the lifeboats. By 8:30 a.m., all survivors were on board, and the ship headed to New York. After the tragedy, investigations began. One big controversy was the role of the SS Californian. which was only about 20 miles away. The crew saw the Titanic's distress rockets, but didn't respond properly. Their wireless was turned off for the night. Many believe they could have saved hundreds more lives if they had acted quickly. This led to important changes in maritime rules. Radios must stay manned at all times, and distress signals must always be investigated. The Titanic was a symbol of human ambition and dreams. But in one tragic night, it was lost to the icy waters of the Atlantic. For decades, no one knew exactly where it rested. Then, in Itu, Dr. Robert Ballard and his team discovered the wreck using advanced technology and a robotic submarine. They found the bow relatively intact, standing on the ocean floor like a ghost from the past. The discovery brought the story back to life and helped us understand what really happened that night.